In 2011, Heavy D, a global hip-hop legend, passed away. His funeral was filled with top superstars Diddy, Jay-Z, Usher, Will Smith. But in the solemn atmosphere, a strange emptiness appeared. The cast of Living Single, the iconic black sitcom of the 90s, was almost entirely absent at the Giants' memorial. Only Queen Latifah showed up. That moment, audiences everywhere asked the question, where were the other cast members when a cultural icon was being laid to rest? Was it just a coincidence? Or was it rooted in hidden conflicts, unspoken bitterness never revealed to the public? The battle for the spotlight, unfair pay, T.C. Carson leaving the show in bitterness, and the pain of Hollywood stealing an idea to create Friends. Living Single, thought to be pure entertainment, turned out to be a brutal battlefield. The laughter on screen was only there to hide wounds that never healed. And then all those scars were unintentionally reopened right at Heavy D's funeral. Heavy D, the gentle giant of hip-hop, born in 1967 in Mandeville, Jamaica, Dwight Arrington Myers. The name the world would later know as Heavy D carried with him an extraordinary journey. From an immigrant boy, he became a cultural icon of hip-hop. When his family moved to Mount Vernon, New York, young Dwight quickly adapted to the vibrant street life and nurtured his passion for music. Heavy D's career began with the group Heavy D and The Boys. Their debut album Living Large in 1987 opened the door for him to enter the music world. With a free-flowing style, a warm smile, and a plus-sized figure, he left audiences both amazed and charmed. He was affectionately called the Gentle Giant, not only because of his appearance, but also because of the rare kindness and sincerity he carried in the entertainment industry. For over a decade, Heavy D remained consistent. From the 1987 hit Mr. Big Stuff to the 1997 album Big Daddy. Unlike many rappers who flashed briefly and faded, Heavy D proved his endurance and rare versatility. Despite his fame, Heavy D stayed humble. Queen Latifah once shared that when she was just 18, Heavy D was the first person to bring her on stage. Will Smith also admitted that he and Jazzy Jeff partly owed their place in the rap community to Heavy D's introductions. His generosity and compassion made him not just a stage icon, but a beloved figure in the hearts of his friends. Heavy D wasn't only Queen Latifah's close friend, he was also tied to the world of Living Single. He played Daryl Regine's flamboyant boyfriend. As a guest actor, he brought his musical essence into the show, linking him to the cast as part of its living soul. Living Single, the black sitcom that shaped a generation. In 1993, when Living Single first aired on Fox, black audiences saw for the first time a sitcom revolving around their own lives. Young singles in Brooklyn, talented, ambitious, and full of dreams. 6 main characters quickly became cultural icons. Khadijah James, the strong journalist played by Queen Latifah. Sinclair, the naive, charming cousin. Regine, the stylish woman always chasing material things. Maxine, the sharp-tongued, witty lawyer. Overton, the kind-hearted handyman. Kyle, the smooth-talking financial investor. Living Single was instantly recognized as a pioneering black sitcom, paving the way for more diverse TV shows that followed. In Living Single, Heavy D's role as Daryl may have been a guest appearance, but it left a lasting impression. He first appeared in the episode Thanks for Giving Season 2, Episode 12, a special Thanksgiving installment. Seated at the Brooklyn Friends dinner table, Daryl suddenly delivered a short but powerful prayer, Thanksgiving. It's a tradition to give thanks. I'd like to offer thanks for giving. 'Cause you see, giving teaches us something that receiving doesn't. It allows us to look deep within ourselves. And so thank you. The room went silent. It wasn't a long sermon, but a warm, sincere moment true to the spirit of Heavy D, the gentle giant in real life. That scene remains for many fans one of the most memorable moments in Living Single. After this first appearance, Daryl had a short romance with Regine Kim Fields. The couple was complete opposites. On one side, a fashion-obsessed, materialistic woman. On the other, a calm, sincere man. That contrast created a series of comedic yet satirical situations, exposing the gap between flashy appearances and the true values of love. Daryl later returned in another episode with an unexpected twist. He asked Regine to help him plan his wedding. But during the preparations, Regine discovered that Daryl's fiancée was only after his money and didn't love him at all. The climax of the episode came when Regine blew the whistle, exposing the scheme right in front of Daryl. It left a moment both funny and deeply human, carrying the message happiness cannot be built on lies. Thanks to this Heavy D's, Daryl was no longer just a fleeting cameo. He became an iconic character, bringing hip-hop energy and Heavy D's real-life kindness into the sitcom world. His presence made the bond between Heavy D and Living Single even stronger. Audiences once believed that the 6 characters of Living Single weren't just friends on screen, but a real family off-screen. They ate together, lived together, and shared joys and sorrows like siblings. But the studio lights had hidden many dark corners. Silent battles for the spotlight, unfair pay, and power struggles that fractured their bonds. That's why when Heavy D's funeral took place, the picture of a perfect family felt even more conflicted. Queen Latifah, the only loyal friend who showed up at Heavy D's funeral at Grace Baptist Church on November 18, 2011, Queen Latifah appeared. The image of her bowing her head alone to bid farewell to Heavy D became a powerful symbol. Within the Living Single cast, Queen Latifah wasn't only the central face. As Khadijah James, she was also the soul behind the scenes. She served both as actress and producer, and she was already a famous rap star before joining the show. Heavy D was one of her closest friends and colleagues from the very beginning. Queen Latifah and Heavy D had known each other since the late 1980s, when both were part of the exploding hip-hop wave. They performed together at shows and cultural events. They shared the pride of being pioneering Black artists who stepped out of the streets and onto the mainstream stage. Heavy D even lent his voice to the theme song of Living Single. His music opened every episode, guiding audiences into Khadijah's Brooklyn world with her friends. This made Latifah and Heavy D connected not only in their personal lives, but also in the very heartbeat of the sitcom. On November 18, 2011, Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon was packed. Heavy D's funeral brought together major names: Diddy, Jay-Z, Usher, Mary J. Blige, Will Smith. Thousands of fans crowded outside the gates, holding up cameras, weeping with every farewell song. And among that sea of stars, Queen Latifah appeared quietly dressed in black, her face heavy with grief. What shocked the press and fans was not only Latifah's presence, but the fact that she was the only representative of Living Single. No Kim Fields, no Erica Alexander, no T.C. Carson. Only Latifah bowed before Heavy D's casket. She stepped up to the podium, offering a farewell like a younger sister mourning her brother. Media at the time described Latifah's tears as one of the most heartbreaking moments of the funeral. Her presence created a dramatic contrast. On screen, Living Single was a tight-knit family. In reality, only one member chose to appear to say goodbye to a dear friend while the others were absent. Latifah's solitude among the celebrity crowd stood as a mirror reflecting the cracks hidden behind the glamorous lights. Latifah became the link between Heavy D and Living Single. By simply being there, she reminded audiences that Heavy D wasn't just a hip-hop legend, but also part of the memory tied to a sitcom that defined an entire generation. And while Queen Latifah stood quietly at Grace Baptist Church, one question immediately echoed in the minds of fans. Where were the other Living Single cast members? The strange absence of the rest of the cast. That moment could not be dismissed. It immediately reignited memories of Living Single's behind-the-scenes fractures that had been hidden for years. The biggest rift: T.C. Carson and his bitter departure. In Living Single, the character Kyle Barker, played by T.C. Carson, was one of the show's brightest highlights. A slick, charming stockbroker always clashing in fiery banter with Maxine. Their back and forth became the spice that had audiences laughing out loud. But few knew that behind the scenes, Carson paid a heavy price simply for speaking out on behalf of his co-stars and the show itself. In an interview with the Chicago Tribune 2000, Carson openly accused Fox and the producers, "Fox never really supported us. They didn't promote Living Single the way they did white sitcoms. We were always treated as second class even though our ratings were strong and audiences loved us." Carson recalled that many times the cast was treated unfairly, and he was the only one who dared to protest. That made him a thorn in the producer's side. He remembered, "I was the one speaking up for the group, but instead of listening, they looked for ways to silence me." The breaking point came in Season 5, 1997, when Carson was pulled aside and told that Kyle would no longer appear. Bitterly, he later said, "On a talk show, I didn't just lose a role. I lost a family. I was pushed out because I demanded fairness. Kyle's departure shocked fans. No more fiery clashes with Maxine, no more witty opposites with Overton. The show lost part of its soul. Fans flooded Fox with letters demanding Carson's return, but it was in vain. That's why when Carson didn't appear at Heavy D's funeral in 2011, the public immediately questioned it. Heavy D wasn't just Latifah's friend, he had also appeared in Living Single as Daryl and contributed musically to the show. Carson's absence as one of the sitcom's pillars reopened painful memories. Were the wounds between him, Fox, and the crew never healed? The funeral should have been the day the Living Single family came together to bid farewell to a friend. Instead, Carson's absence became the clearest proof that the family had long since fallen apart. The absence of T.C. Carson alone was enough to stir public attention. But Carson was not the only one whose absence left fans questioning. Kim Fields, the star. Overshadowed by Queen Latifah. A broken relationship before Living Single. Kim Fields was already a well-known child star from the sitcom The Facts of Life, 1979-1988. She entered showbiz at an early age carrying the glow of a child star and established fame. When she took on the role of Regine Hunter in Living Single, Fields immediately shone as the glamorous, stylish, label-obsessed diva always ready to one-up her friends to prove she was the trendiest of them all. Regine quickly became a scene stealer, delivering laughs and satire. But behind the spotlight, Kim Fields faced a harsh reality: she wasn't the center of the show. That center belonged to Queen Latifah. With her role as Khadijah James, she was not only the lead character, but also a producer, and outside the show, a rising rap star. Latifah controlled nearly all the spotlight. On one side was a powerful star on the rise. On the other was a grown-up child star struggling to reclaim her place. That contrast soon turned the set into a tense atmosphere. Several behind-the-scenes sources claimed that Kim Fields often felt sidelined, with the spotlight shifting entirely to Latifah. At times, she was unhappy that Regine, who had the potential to become an independent icon, was mostly written as comic relief. Some colleagues even hinted they were polite on the surface, but it wasn't genuine. On set, they kept it professional, but off-set, they were cold, distant. The tension grew sharper because their real-life personalities clashed. Latifah was strong, decisive, always prioritizing career and power. Fields was refined perfectionist, but vulnerable when she felt overshadowed. That clash simmered like a quiet fire, making even lighthearted scenes carry an undercurrent of tension. And so when Heavy D, Latifah's close friend, who had also appeared on Living Single, passed away, Kim Fields was completely absent. That absence could not go unnoticed. To many fans, Fields' absence seemed like an exclamation mark confirming the rumors the relationship between Latifah and Fields was never truly mended. On screen, Khadijah and Regine were inseparable best friends. But in real life, Latifah's towering presence unintentionally dimmed Fields, the once radiant child star. Heavy D's funeral, instead of being a chance to reunite, only made the cracks of the past more visible. If Kim Fields' absence fueled suspicion of a surface-level friendship with Queen Latifah, there was still another void at Grace Baptist Church that raised just as much curiosity. Kim Coles, the comedian, and her silent resentment on screen. Sinclair James was the bright soul of Living Single. With her innocent personality, kind heart, and charming delivery, Kim Coles turned the character into a laugh machine beloved by fans everywhere. But behind that sweet image, Coles carried quiet discontent. Rumors from behind the scenes suggested that Coles often felt overshadowed by Queen Latifah's enormous presence. Latifah was the media's center, the face on the posters, the name always mentioned first. Meanwhile, Coles, though adored by fans, rarely received the same recognition from the press or from Fox as a key star. The issue grew worse when salary disparities came into play. According to multiple sources, the cast did not receive equal pay, and Coles was among those shortchanged. Though she never publicly criticized anyone's subtle remarks in later interviews, led fans to believe she had gone through a period of quiet frustration. Some colleagues revealed that Kim Coles sometimes felt not properly respected and treated like a supporting character in the very sitcom she had helped make a success. Latifah's shadow was simply too large, too powerful, leaving Coles struggling to find her own space, even though Sinclair was one of the show's most memorable characters. That's why Coles's absence at Heavy D's funeral wasn't seen by many as just a scheduling issue. For fans, it felt like a silent message. The distance between Coles and the living single family had stretched too far to the point it could no longer be repaired. On screen, Sinclair was the innocent glue binding the group together. Off-screen, resentment, feelings of neglect, and imbalances of power had built an invisible wall. And at Heavy D's funeral, that wall became more visible than ever. Erika Alexander, the outsider, and the shock called friends. If Latifah's Khadijah was the leader, and Coles's Sinclair was the comic relief, then Maxine Shaw, the sharp-tongued lawyer played by Erika Alexander, was the secret weapon that made living single a phenomenon. Maxine was smart, sarcastic, independent, and unafraid to say what others wouldn't. Audiences loved her boldness, while critics praised Maxine as one of the strongest, most modern female characters of the 90s. Yet the irony was that while Maxine was iconic on screen behind the scenes, Erika Alexander became the outsider. In many interviews, Alexander never hesitated to reveal the truth Fox treated Living Single as a second-class show. She once bitterly said, "We were Fox's #1 series for 4 seasons, but we never saw ourselves on a single big billboard in Hollywood." Meanwhile, white sitcoms of the same era were promoted everywhere, with posters, media campaigns, and full corporate backing. Then came 1994, just 1 year after Living Single premiered. NBC launched Friends. 6 young people, 1 apartment, stories of love, friendship, and careers, a formula eerily familiar. The difference, the cast was entirely white. Friends was given millions in marketing, becoming a global cultural phenomenon, while Living Single, the pioneer, was pushed down to a historical footnote. Alexander later recalled in a podcast, "When Friends came out, we knew they had taken our idea. But they had money. They had the system behind them. We didn't. We were just 6 black people trying to prove that we deserved to stand on the same stage." The drama grew even deeper within the cast. Alexander often felt her voice wasn't given equal weight. As someone who openly spoke out about racial inequities in the industry, she was often ignored by Fox. Meanwhile, Latifah rose higher in power, while Alexander was gradually excluded from major decisions. Erika Alexander's pain was not only the heartbreak of having Friends blatantly take credit for their groundwork. It was also the bitterness of seeing the show she helped build ultimately denied the historical respect it deserved. But the most tragic case belonged to yet another actor. John Henton, the tragedy behind the laughter. On-screen, Overton was Living Single's golden boy, kind-hearted, goofy in just the right way, and deeply devoted to Sinclair. He was the show's dose of comic relief, bringing light-hearted moments after the tense banter among the Brooklyn friends. Audiences loved Overton so much they saw him as the sitcom's joyful soul. But in real life, John Henton faced a devastating tragedy. In 2000, when his career was still steady after the success of Living Single and the sitcom The Hughleys, Henton was involved in a horrific car accident in Los Angeles. The violent crash left him with severe injuries. Doctors performed a marathon surgery to reconstruct his face, but the damage could never be erased. He carried permanent scars, and his acting career collapsed. A face once familiar on television suddenly disappeared, leaving fans mourning the loss of Overton beyond the screen. From sitcom star, Henton gradually became the forgotten man in Hollywood. He rarely spoke about the pain, but for fans, his tragedy was proof of a harsh truth. Stardom can vanish in an instant, and laughter on screen can't save a person from real-life suffering. T.C. Carson left in bitterness for daring to demand fairness. Kim Fields, the former child star, was overshadowed by Queen Latifah's massive presence. Kim Coles carried silent frustration over spotlight and pay. Erika Alexander, sidelined, watched helplessly as Friends stole their formula. John Henton fell into real-life tragedy with a horrific accident. Living Single was once a family on screen, but off-screen each member carried wounds of their own. All those broken pieces formed a bitter irony. The sitcom that brought laughter to millions was torn apart from within by its own cast and by Hollywood itself. Friends, the blatant theft that changed TV history. In 1994, just 1 year after Living Single premiered, NBC released Friends. 6 friends living in New York navigating love careers and everyday comedy. The only difference was that the cast of Friends was entirely white, with poster-friendly faces. Easy to market, easy to sell to advertisers, and easy to export worldwide. NBC poured tens of millions of dollars into a massive marketing campaign, turning the sitcom into the phenomenon of a generation. And Living Single left behind treated like an expired draft. Years later, the truth started to surface. Erica Alexander, who played Maxine in Living Single, was blunt. They took our idea, changed the color of the skin, and turned it into Friends. That's it. Queen Latifah put it more gently, but couldn't hide the sting. If Living Single had been promoted the way Friends was, we would have rewritten television history. Yvette Lee Bowser, the creator of Living Single, revealed that NBC knew the power of a black sitcom, but wanted a cleaner, easier-to-swallow version for white audiences. That's how Friends was born. Even David Schwimmer-Ross in Friends admitted NBC had discussed diversifying the cast, but ultimately decided to keep it all white, believing that formula would be more profitable. Friends wasn't just a sitcom, it was a cultural earthquake. Across 10 seasons and 236 episodes from 1994 to 2004, it averaged 25 million viewers per episode. Its peak, the episode, The One, after the Super Bowl, drew 52.9 million viewers, numbers usually reserved for major sports events. From there, Friends became a golden goose, generating over $1 billion annually, even decades after its finale. Cast members Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, and Matthew Perry ascended to A-list status, eventually earning $1 million per episode by season 9. To this day, they each pocket around $20 million a year in royalties. Meanwhile, Living Single, the trailblazer that premiered a year earlier, faced a starkly different fate. Across 5 seasons and 118 episodes from 1993 to 1998, the sitcom maintained solid ratings of 8 to 10 million viewers per episode, an impressive achievement for an all-black cast in the 1990s. Yet instead of being elevated, Living Single was neglected. No massive marketing campaigns, no global distribution push, no streaming platform bidding wars. Cast salaries were only a fraction of what the Friends stars received. And after the show ended, almost none of the cast ascended to global stardom. The series itself wasn't even widely reissued or snapped up by Netflix or HBO Max for billion-dollar streaming deals the way Friends was. The contrast could not be starker. On one side, Friends stood as a cultural monument and commercial juggernaut worth billions. On the other, Living Single, the originator of the New York friend group sitcom formula, was confined to the memory of the black community, never given the chance to shine on the same scale. Critics have called it a case of historical whitewashing. The original idea belonged to a black sitcom, but only when recast with white faces was it celebrated worldwide, while the pioneering version was left to be forgotten. If the Friends versus Living Single debate exposed Hollywood's injustice, then Heavy D's funeral drove home another painful truth. The friendships we see on screen and the ones that exist in real life are sometimes separated by an unbridgeable gap. Audiences often romanticize the relationships between artists, believing they are truly a family as portrayed on screen. But that funeral revealed a different reality. Those friendships can be an illusion maintained for the sake of work and for the audience, but not always present in real life. More than 3 decades after Living Single first aired, the pioneering black sitcom's legendary cast has long gone their separate ways, each carrying a story of their own, filled with brilliance, heartbreak, and unexpected turns. The Living Single cast and their lives. Today, at the center still stands Queen Latifah, the power queen of Hollywood. After her success as Khadijah James, she went on to build a rare, multifaceted career singer, actress, and producer. Her net worth is now estimated at around $70 million, making her one of the wealthiest and most influential artists of her generation. Yet what fascinates the public even more is her private life. Latifah rarely speaks about family, but she has recently appeared publicly with her son Rebel and her longtime partner Ebony Nichols. Kim Fields, once a famous child star, has proven herself not only on screen, but also behind the camera. After playing the glamorous Regine Hunter on Living Single, Fields shifted toward directing, working on hit sitcoms like Kenan and Kel and House of Pain. Since 2021, she has returned to the spotlight through the Netflix series The Upshaws, showing she is still a presence that cannot be replaced. With a net worth estimated between $6 and $8 million, Fields remains a testament to resilience and lasting star power. Kim Coles, the goofy and lovable Sinclair, continues to carry that same optimism in real life. She now appears on Days of Our Lives as Nurse Whitley King, while also co-hosting the podcast Reliving Single with Erica Alexander, where they share behind-the-scenes stories, nostalgic memories, and secrets never before revealed. Coles has spoken about the body image pressures she endured during filming, even being warned that her weight would become the butt of jokes. But Queen Latifah stepped in to protect her, refusing to let her co-star be made a target on screen. That solidarity only deepened their friendship. Coles also revealed a fun detail that delighted fans. The bond among the leading women was so close that their menstrual cycles synced throughout the years of filming. Erica Alexander, who played the sharp-witted Maxine Shaw, has also continued an impressive journey. After living single, she became a multi-talented artist-actress, writer, producer, and activist. Most recently, she gained acclaim for her role in American Fiction 2023, a film nominated for an Academy Award and honored at the Independent Spirit Awards. Alexander keeps the living single spirit alive through her joint podcast with Kim Coles, while also being a powerful voice for racial justice and opportunities for Black artists. Her net worth is around $3 million, but her greatest legacy lies in her voice and her unwavering artistic conviction. John Henton, the gentle Overton, who was once the funny heart of the sitcom, saw his life take a tragic turn. Today, he lives more quietly, rarely appearing in public, and remains one of the greatest heartbreaks for fans who adored him. T.C. Carson, who left the show in bitterness, also chose his own path. After playing the suave Kyle Barker, Carson no longer appeared often on television, but kept his passion alive through voice acting in animation and video games. Though he never gained the massive wealth or dazzling career of Latifah, Carson still holds a cherished place in the hearts of loyal fans. 30 years have passed, and the cast of Living Single has each gone their own way. Some found brilliant success, some endured tragedy, others continued contributing quietly. Yet all remain essential pieces of the sitcom that changed how Hollywood looked at the Black community. And perhaps despite the drama or conflicts that once existed in the hearts of audiences, they will forever remain the Brooklyn family, the ones who brought laughter and hope to an entire generation.